This video is for educational purposes only and does not constitute professional medical advice. Please consult with your doctor or a qualified healthcare specialist before starting any new vitamins or supplements mentioned in this video. Use of this information is at your own risk. You wake up, and as your feet hit the floor, you feel a heaviness that wasn't there 5 years ago. You look in the mirror and notice the subtle, cruel changes. The grip that once opened any jar is now fumbling with a lid. The arms that carried your children with ease now feel thin, their skin hanging loosely over what used to be solid muscle. You go to your doctor, and they give you a sympathetic shrug, telling you it's just a natural part of getting older. But they are wrong. What is happening to you is not a natural sunset. It is a biological theft. Your body is quietly cannibalizing its own foundation, stripping away your skeletal muscle to fuel its failing systems because it has received a signal that your strength is no longer required for survival. This is the dying signal, a state where your body begins to treat your muscles as a luxury it can no longer afford to maintain. If you do not intervene now, you are not just losing muscle, you are losing your autonomy, your dignity, and the very structure that keeps your heart beating and your brain sharp. Welcome to EldraFit Nutrition. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. We are dedicated to uncovering the hidden truths of senior health that the mainstream medical world often overlooks. If you are ready to stop the invisible theft of your strength and reclaim the vibrant life you deserve, please subscribe to our channel. Your support allows us to continue bringing these life-changing insights to millions of people around the world who are fighting to stay strong. The medical term for this tragedy is sarcopenia, but names don't capture the sheer terror of watching your physical self evaporate. For decades, the narrative has been that we simply slow down, but the reality is much more sinister. Every year after 60, you are potentially losing up to 3% of your muscle mass. This isn't just about bicep size. It's about the deep, stabilizing fibers in your core and legs that prevent the falls that end lives. When these fibers vanish, your metabolic rate crashes. Your body loses its ability to manage blood sugar, turning your internal environment into a breeding ground for inflammation. This inflammation then circles back to attack the remaining muscle, creating a death spiral of frailty. You aren't just getting older. You are being dismantled by a system that has forgotten how to build. The tragedy is that most people accept this as destiny, sitting in their chairs as their independence fades into a memory, unaware that the off switch for this destruction is within their reach. Before we move forward into the mechanics of how to stop this, I want you to take a moment of deep reflection. Please consider this question and share your answer in the comments below. When you look at your future 10 years from today, which path are you choosing to walk? A. I accept that aging means becoming weaker, and I will adjust my life to my limitations. B. I refuse to let my body fade, and I will do whatever it takes to reclaim the strength that is rightfully mine. Please type A or B in the comments. Your choice today determines the reality of your tomorrow. The reason your efforts have likely failed in the past is not due to a lack of willpower, but a profound cellular phenomenon known as anabolic resistance. Imagine your muscle cells as an ancient high-performance engine. When you were 20, every gram of protein you consumed was like high-octane fuel that easily entered the combustion chamber, sparking immediate growth and repair. But as you passed the threshold of 60, something changed at the molecular level. The fuel cap of your muscle cells has been welded shut by decades of oxidative stress and low-grade inflammation. You can eat the finest steaks and drink the most expensive protein shakes, but the nutrients are simply washing over the outside of the cell, unable to get in. Your muscles are starving in a land of plenty. This is why the standard advice to just eat more protein is not only useless for most seniors, it's frustratingly deceptive. It's like trying to fill a car with gas by pouring it over the hood. Inside your cells, there is a master regulator called mTOR, the signal man that tells your body to build muscle. In a young person, this signal man is hyper alert, responding to even the smallest amounts of amino acids. In your body right now, that signal man is asleep. He is deaf to the cries of your weakening limbs. This state of metabolic silence means that your body has shifted its priority from build to breakdown. This is the core of the empty tank syndrome. Because the signals to build are muted, your body begins to see your muscle tissue as a reservoir of raw materials to be used elsewhere, for organ repair or basic energy, because it no longer believes you are going to use those muscles for anything significant. You are essentially in a state of internal fasting, regardless of how much you eat. Furthermore, this resistance is reinforced by a lack of blood flow. The tiny capillaries that once delivered oxygen and growth factors to every corner of your muscle tissue have begun to wither, a process called microvascular rarefaction. Even if you manage to get the right nutrients into your blood, the delivery trucks can no longer reach the construction site. This creates a ghost town effect within your musculature. The infrastructure is crumbling, the workers have left, and the supply lines are cut. To fix this, we cannot simply throw more bricks at the site. We have to reopen the roads and wake up the signalman. Most people spend their senior years trying to fight this with outdated methods, wondering why their legs still feel like lead and their energy remains in the basement. They don't realize that they are fighting a war on the wrong front. We don't need more fuel. We need to pick the lock on the cellular door and force the body to remember how to be strong again. Understanding this resistance is the first step toward shattering it. You are not broken. You are simply locked, and the key is not found in a gym, but in a specific sequence of biological triggers that we are about to uncover. The disappearance of your muscle mass is not merely a change in how you look or how fast you walk. It is the systematic dismantling of your body's primary defense system. For too long, we have viewed muscle as a vanity project, something reserved for the young and the athletic. But for those of us over 60, muscle is our metabolic shield. It is the greatest guardian of our internal health. And when that shield shatters, your entire system is left exposed to a slow-burning fire of inflammation and decay. You must understand that muscle is not just a collection of fibers used for movement. It is the largest endocrine organ in your body. It produces and releases life-sustaining chemicals that regulate your blood sugar, your immune system, and even the clarity of your thoughts. When you lose this tissue, your metabolism does not just slow down, it collapses. Without the massive sink of muscle to absorb glucose, your blood sugar spikes, your insulin levels become toxic, and your body enters a state of chronic systemic stress that accelerates every aspect of aging. The most terrifying consequence, however, is the one that happens in the silence of your mind. Scientists have discovered a profound connection between the strength of your limbs and the longevity of your brain. Every time a muscle contracts, it releases specialized proteins called myokines, the brain's maintenance crew. These myokines travel through your bloodstream, crossing the blood-brain barrier to trigger the growth of new neurons and protect existing ones from the plaques of Alzheimer's and dementia. When you allow your muscles to waste away, you are essentially cutting off the supply lines to your own consciousness. You are starving your brain of the very signals it needs to stay sharp and resilient. This is why the frailty of the body so often precedes the fog of the mind. The loss of muscle is, in many ways, the dementia of the body, a state where your physical structure no longer supports the biological demands of life. If you ignore this signal, you aren't just risking a fall or a broken hip, you are inviting a total systemic failure. You are watching the walls of your fortress crumble, leaving your heart, your brain, and your metabolism defenseless against the inevitable march of time. This is not a gradual decline. It is a metabolic catastrophe waiting to happen. To reverse this downward spiral at 60 and beyond, we must look past the outdated advice of simply moving more and focus on the precise biological switches that govern muscle reconstruction. Rebuilding strength in your senior years is not a matter of brute force. It is a delicate dance of chemistry and signaling. The first and most critical mechanism is the restoration of microvascular flow. Your muscles are currently starving because the microscopic roads that deliver nutrients, the capillaries, have withered away. To rebuild, we must first reopen these pathways. By increasing the elasticity of your blood vessels, we ensure that every gram of nutrition you consume actually reaches the hungry fibers of your muscles rather than circulating uselessly in your blood. This is the foundation. Without blood flow, there is no repair. We are essentially terraforming a desert, bringing water and life back to a land that has been parched for years. The second switch is the restoration of insulin sensitivity at the muscular level. Think of insulin as the key that unlocks the door to your muscle cells, allowing them to take in the building blocks of growth. In a state of resistance, that key is broken. By using specific dietary triggers, we can resensitize these receptors, making the cell hungry once again. When the cell becomes sensitive, the signaling protein mTOR, the master architect of your body, finally wakes up from its long slumber. It begins to send out the orders to synthesize new protein and repair the microscopic tears in your tissue. But this process also requires a shift in your hormonal landscape. We are moving from a state of catabolism, where the body breaks itself down for energy, to anabolism, where the body invests in its future. This shift is controlled by a delicate balance of hormones that tell your body that the environment is safe, the resources are abundant, and the time for growth is now. By aligning your nutrition with these specific biological rhythms, we bypass the anabolic resistance that has held you captive. We aren't just trying to grow larger muscles. We are retraining your entire physiology to prioritize strength over survival, forced to remember the vibrant, regenerative power it once possessed. This is the science of the Great Reawakening, where your body finally listens to the signals of life once again. To shatter the cellular silence of anabolic resistance and reclaim your physical sovereignty, you must move beyond the generic advice of the past and embrace a precision-based nutritional phalanx. We begin with the humble egg, specifically for its concentration of leucine. In the biology of a 60-year-old, leucine is not just an amino acid, it is the master key. It is the only nutrient capable of directly jolting the mTOR pathway awake, forcing a resistant body to resume the work of protein synthesis. By centering your intake around high-quality eggs, you are sending a loud, clear signal to your cells that the era of breakdown is over. This is complemented by the inclusion of wild-caught salmon, rich in high-dose omega-3 fatty acids. These fats act as a biological lubricant for your stiffening cell membranes, dissolving the inflammatory crust that prevents growth signals from penetrating the muscle. When you incorporate these fats, you are essentially softening the lock so that the leucine key can turn. Finally, we introduce the nitrate-rich power of spinach. Much like the circulatory restoration we discussed, the nitrates in spinach act as a natural vasodilator, widening the rusted pipes of your vascular system to ensure that the leucine and omega-3s actually reach the starving fibers in your legs and core. However, these foods require a framework of timing to be effective. You must consume your primary protein and nitrate sources during the window of opportunity in the early afternoon, followed by 10 minutes of gentle rhythmic movement like a brisk walk or simple calf raises. This movement activates the muscle pump, physically forcing the nutrient-rich blood into the tissue. By aligning these specific foods with purposeful timing, you are not just eating, you are conducting a biological symphony. You are moving from a state of passive decay to one of active regeneration, proving that your body still possesses the ancient wisdom to heal, to strengthen, and to endure. The journey we have walked together today is about more than just muscle fibers or metabolic rates. It is about the fundamental promise you make to yourself regarding the quality of your remaining years. We have been conditioned to believe that aging is a process of subtraction, a slow, inevitable losing of pieces until there is nothing left but a shadow of who we once were. But the science of EldraFit Nutrition tells a different story. It tells us that while the passage of time is certain, the surrender of your strength is not. You are the architect of your own biology, and every choice you make at the dinner table, or in the quiet moments of your afternoon, is either a brick laid in the wall of your fortress, or a stone removed from its foundation. When you choose to prioritize your muscle mass, you are choosing to preserve your freedom. You are choosing the ability to pick up your grandchildren, to walk through the woods without fear, and to look into the future with a sense of capability rather than a sense of dread. The profound lesson here is that your body is a mirror of the signals you send it. If you send signals of stagnation and taking it easy, your body will respond by dismantling itself. If you send signals of demand, of high-quality nourishment, and of purposeful movement, your body will fight to maintain the infrastructure required to meet those demands. To apply this today, do not feel overwhelmed by the complexity of the science. Start with a single, tangible action. Add 2 eggs to your breakfast or a handful of spinach to your lunch. Walk for 5 minutes after you eat. These small, deliberate acts are the first sparks of the reawakening. You are not fighting a losing battle against time. You are participating in a beautiful, rigorous dialogue with life itself. Your strength is your legacy. Do not let it fade quietly into the night. Stand firm, nourish deeply, and remember that it is never too late to become a stronger version of yourself. To help our community grow and learn from one another, I would love to hear from you. Which of the 3 foods mentioned today, eggs, salmon, or spinach, is already a regular part of your diet? Please share your answer in the comments below so we can see which healthy habits are most common among us. Also, if you found this information valuable, please subscribe to EldraFit Nutrition to support our mission of bringing deep, life-changing health insights to people everywhere. Together, we can redefine what it means to grow older with power and grace.